Hey Falcon fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Atlanta Falcons Today. Happy Tuesday. We need to jump into some cuts. Our first actual roster cuts as training camp, as you know, starts to kind of whittle down from 90. Today they went to 85. We'll show you the 4 cuts and the 1 IR move, and then they're going to go down all the way to 53 by the end of the preseason. And so we want to jump in here and show you guys who was let go, why they might have been let go, and exactly who's going to fill their position, or I guess more specifically, who's not going to fill their position because they were so far at the bottom of the depth chart. Before we jump into this, I just want to make one point about the 5 roster moves made today. It's no disrespect to any of the 5 players who were either placed on IR or the one that's placed on IR and the 4 that were cut, but these were the guys that were at the very bottom of the depth charts. When we get into who they actually are, you might not actually recognize their names unless you're like a true Falcon fan who goes all the way through the depth chart like pre-training camp saying, oh yes, this player, he might be, a bubble practice squad guy. They can always bring these people back. They can always be signed by other teams, and so it's not the end of the road for them. However, Atlanta had to trim the fat a little bit today like every other NFL team. We'll talk about that in today's video. First off, here are the official cut dates just so you know as they start to whittle these things down. Obviously 85 by 4 p.m. Eastern time today. Falcons got this done by, I think it was like 1 p.m. Eastern time whenever they went ahead and gave us the 5 moves that they made, so thank you for that, because some teams will take until 4 p.m. Eastern time. Then you have the Jets game coming up on Monday night, August 22nd. That'll give the players who were not cut another chance to go ahead and impress, possibly make a roster. Remember, there's like, 17, 18 practice squad spots, lots of spots to go ahead and actually still be on an NFL team, just not an actual starting 53, and they still make like $10,000 a month, so it's still pretty good money even if you're on the practice squad. Then you have the 80-player cut. You'll cut 5 more on the 23rd. That'll be on next Tuesday, so 1 week from today by 4 p.m. Then you have your final preseason game at the Jacksonville Jaguars on August 22nd, and then your official 53-man roster plus practice squad players will be there on August 30th by 4 p.m. And so that's kind of the dates that I want to show you guys as we go through here on Chat Sports. We're going to give you guys exactly when these things are going to happen. Of course, when they do happen, we'll have videos covering all of the different cuts and all of the moves. So no surprise cuts today. We'll go ahead and jump into who was let go, starting with, first off, and Tucker Fisk, the tight end. And it's not going to sit back, and I'm not going to poo-poo on these guys, because, again, it's hard to even make, an NFL roster going into training camp. But Fisker had an absolutely Fisker is the other tight end actually on this roster. But Fisk actually had a really, let's just say, uphill battle even to make a practice squad when you have a guy named Kyle Pitts. And they like Anthony Fisker, messed up his name a second ago, Fisker as the backup tight end right now. But really, it's the Kyle Pitts show. It's not a football team that's going to do a lot of 12 personnel. They're going to roll with Pitts as their solo tight end. They're going to spread him out wide. They're going to keep him in close. And so they obviously had enough tight ends on this depth chart and on this roster to go ahead and feel confident in letting Fisk go. Fisk is going to be able to go sign with anybody else if another team wants to go ahead and pick him up, like every player on this list, as I mentioned. Okay, how do you guys feel about the roster so far? We're down to 85. Rate the Falcons roster, scale of 1 to 32. See what I did there? Rate the roster. Let me know how you guys feel about it right now. For me, my big question going into this offseason was, would it be a top 20 roster? I don't know yet. I mean, honestly, I don't know. We haven't seen enough. And I like some of the things that we saw early on in that preseason game, but it was just so darn early, and it's just the first preseason game, and a lot of guys were out. You didn't have a lot of the starters in there, even though most of them played that weren't injured, but still, a long way to go. I'm going to hold my judgment here, but I want to see where you guys are feeling about the roster on a scale of 1 to 32. All right, you notice the theme as we keep going here. These are position groups that are full of young players, hence why they went ahead and trimmed the fat with some other very much younger young players. Let's say Rashad Smith is the next player who was let go today, the linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons. And as you look at the Falcons linebacker depth chart, they feel very, very good about where they're at, both inside and outside, right? Deion Jones technically is still there. They're going to take a roster spot, at least for now. But you have Michael Walker. You obviously have Troy Anderson, the young rookie linebacker. We didn't see him play in the first preseason game, maybe in the next one. Rashawn Evans, who made some plays in that opening preseason season game against Detroit. Dorian Etheridge is still there. Like, you got to think about all these people that are there, and Smith was kind of the 4th string guy from an inside linebacker or a left inside linebacker position, and so just a really long way to go. They had too many, and you don't really need that many inside linebackers, especially from a depth perception, because just, only so many of them are actually going to play during the regular season. So Rashad Smith and Tucker Fisk are your first 2 Falcons who were let go just a couple of minutes ago as we get filming here on Atlanta Falcons Today. Now, we are trying to not only get to 8,000 subscribers, but beat our Saints Chat Sports channel in a friendly sub battle. So right now, the Saints channel has 8,071 total subscribers. We here at Falcons Today have 7,480. And so we are approaching not only 8,000, but we're only like 600 away from going ahead, or a little less than 600 away from beating the Saints channel here. And listen, we don't like the Swamp guys down there in New Orleans. We don't like the Saints. You guys know that. So help us beat the Saints here. If you appreciate these updates, these almost daily updates regarding your Atlanta Falcons news, rumors, cut stuff, mailbag videos, trade rumors, I mean, everything regarding your Falcons, go down below and subscribe. Again, we're trying to go ahead and beat the Saints, who are at 8,071, and we're at 7,480. So help us out. Go down below and subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well while you're down there, the way you're notified of our latest videos. Tre Webb is your next roster move here, who was let go. You know, basically a safety. You can move him in to play nickel if you wanted to, but as you look through the depth chart, Jalen Hawkins most likely going to be the starter there at the strong safety. Grant will be the starter at the free safety. But you have Marlowe back there. You have Henry Black. Tease Tabor, who they've liked at times at special teams, is still ahead of Tre Webb. And so as you look at this, again, I'm not trying to poo-poo these people, but there are 3 players minimum ahead of each of these guys that were let go. And so naturally you trim the guy who's furthest down on the depth chart, the guy who hasn't made a lot of plays, and Webb was one of those players who didn't play a lot, has not played a lot so far, at least in terms of moving up the depth chart, but definitely down there at the bottom of the safety spot. And, now it goes into Eric Harrison, Tabor as the guys who are technically on the 3rd string right now, according to the depth chart that was given to, or that was released by Atlanta. And so those guys are the next guys up, although most of them are probably going to make it just from a special team standpoint. But Webb was your next player to go ahead and be let go. Now, one thing you should not let go of is the 40% off discount that is happening right now at these t-shirts. I mean, these Falcon t-shirts are 40% off on your screen right now. The link is down below in the description box. Also, I think it's right below me too. If you just look down below, it's not below me literally, but in the video, you guys get it. Chatsports.com/Falcons t-shirt is the link that you need to pick up your fresh Falcons gear. I've always said it. I mean, these discounts are not going to last forever. Once the regular season starts, they're going to try to get all the people who didn't buy their Falcon gear to pay full price. And so you get the 40% off now because it's technically still the off season, and that way you can rep your Falcons and save a little bit on the wallet because we know money is tight right now. So chatsports.com/Falcons t-shirt is the link that you need. Right now it is 40% off, and last time I checked, they have the majority of the sizes still available, so get your size right now because you never know when sizes are going to run out. Link is down below me in the description box. Pick those up right now. Okay, next is going to be a punter, and Seth Vernon. He is the final of the actual cuts, and we'll get to the IR person placed on IR here in just one second. Pinion went ahead and essentially won the job. That's the reason why Vernon is being let go. He was the backup punter and also the holder. Not exactly sure who's going to replace him as the holder, but normally they could bring in, Younghoe Koo, or Younghoe Koo, or, potentially someone else to be a holder. It's not necessarily the most difficult job in the world unless you're Tony Romo, right? You'll get that if you understand. But they're going to go with Bradley Pinion, who is a much better punter. I think he is the better one. They made the right decision here, and so Vernon, the backup punter, is let go, and he is the final of the 4 guys who were actually cut. Now we get into the 1 IR move, and so you technically can move a player to IR. He's off of the actual roster because he's on injured reserve, and so he's not taking up a roster spot because he's on injured reserve, right? It's pretty simple, and that is Cornell Armstrong, the cornerback, which, if you're one of these other cornerbacks like a Mike Ford, who's trying to go ahead and, keep his spot on the roster, or Lafayette Pitts, who's way down there on the cornerback roster. Those 2 guys have a little bit of a shot with Armstrong going ahead and being placed on IR. The odds of like a Pitts or a Ford, I think, making the roster could be a little bit lower, because you have guys like Darren Hall, you have Isaiah Oliver, you have D. Alford, you have all these other cornerbacks who are still on the roster and who will continue to go ahead and stay on the roster as of at least now for another week, because they're going to cut 5 more, as we mentioned, down to 80 by this time next week, essentially. There you go. There are your 4+1 with the IR moves. You got Tucker Fisk, you have Rashad Smith, you have Tre Webb, the defensive back, the safety, really. You have the punter, Seth Vernon, and then Cornell Armstrong, the cornerback, was placed on IR, and those are the 5 who are no longer going to be a part of the roster, minus Armstrong, who's injured, so technically not really on the roster, but still on the team, as they say. Okay, we'll go ahead and end on this. Your excitement level for the Falcons at the Jets next Monday night. You're going to get to watch it, especially if you're outside of Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta, so I'm able to watch every game local just because that's how the NFL works. But if you're outside of Atlanta, I believe this one's going to be nationally broadcasted. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure if it's Monday night, it will be. No Zach Wilson will take place in that game, but I assume the rest of the Jets starters, I think Joe Flacco will start that game. And I expect a lot of Marcus Mariota and a lot of the Falcons starters for probably a quarter in that one, although we'll wait to see what Arthur Smith has to say about how much he wants to play them. But a little longer to wait. He went back to Friday and not a Monday, and so it's not exactly a week, a little longer, but the Falcons will be playing their next preseason game very soon. What is your excitement level for the game at the Jets? Scale of 1 to 10. I'm pretty pumped. I think there were some good things. You see Ritter go for round 2. That could be very, very fun if he continues to build off his performance against the Jets. That's exciting. Give me your overall excitement level for the Falcons at the Jets from a scale of 1 to 10. All right, there you go. I know it's not the flashiest of updates because they didn't cut anybody serious, dramatic, but we still want to give you guys the latest updates, what we do here on the channel. So if you appreciate that, go down below and subscribe. We'll have plenty more coverage in case they make a trade, in case they make another surprise cut, and just general news and rumors as always. So hit that red button. We would greatly appreciate it. All right, for our Atlanta Falcons news and rumor video, focusing in on the cuts here, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.